You're listening to the Healing Mirror podcast, Non-Dual Reflections with Soraya Saraswati. Namaste, it's Soraya here from the Healing Mirror podcast. And today I have with me Sarva Atma. Sarva Atma was born in Kerala, India, and is a teacher of Yoga and Vedanta. He offers yoga and Ayurvedic lifestyle at his family-run homestay, Maithri Mandir, in the state of Kerala. Sarva Atma was raised by a caring grandmother who imbibed the values of Hinduism. During his childhood, he was confronted with illness and poverty. From this difficult beginning, he developed a real awareness and compassion for others and their suffering. Later, he opted for a profession as an automotive mechanical engineer. However, in his vast reading of the works of the great masters of India, like Narayana and Vivekananda, a desire awakened in him for a more spiritual life. He went on to live for 10 years in ashrams in India and became a disciple of Master Nitya Chaitanya Yati. In 1992, he became a yoga and Vedanta teacher himself, working mainly in India, but also in France and some other European countries. Sarva Atma speaks fluent French, which always impresses me because I don't speak any French at all, being Australian. In Europe, he discovered a materialistic society, but also pragmatism, rationality, and efficiency. And he took some of these European qualities back to improve the lifestyle of fellow villagers. Sarva Atma has always had in his mind the health and welfare of his own Indian community. So in 2003, he founded the association Maithri Mandir. It is the fruit of 20 years of reflection and experience. Maithri Mandir Homestays is a self-managed family business in his home state of Kerala. It is set near the backwaters outside Trivandrum. They employ local village people and offer them decent wages, training, and education. Also at the centre, there's offered Yoga, Advaita, and Ayurveda. And there's much work being done in the garden with permaculture, reforesting, and growing native herbs and spices to Kerala. The property backs onto the Kerala backwaters, actually, and it's lined with coconut palms and bird life. I was very lucky to meet Sarva Atma several times with groups of people that I took to India, and as I run yoga and mindfulness, meditation and music retreats in India, and we usually spend a day visiting Sarva Atma for satsang and enjoying a lunch and looking around the beautiful spice gardens there. So it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Sarva Atma, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. So, namaste, Sarva Atma.
Namaste, Soraya.
I was going to ask you to speak about some of my favorite subjects today, a little about Vedanta from your point of view, and in modern times, non-duality and Advaita have been linked and bridged. And what's your feeling about that?
To begin with, Vedanta means the end of knowledge. Veda means knowledge. So that means there is a beginning. The beginning is now 5 senses. So when we came to this world, we start to experiencing things through the eyes, ears, touch, smell, and taste. So from our sense experience, we start to build our knowledge around our surroundings, and we start to ask questions and doubting interrogations about life, the meaning of life, and so many things. And at the end, we reach somewhere. So this is the point, that when you push your thinking process till the last possibility, last end of thinking, we reach a Vedantic level. So this is the last possibility where you can see everything is connected. The end of knowledge, that we are one. So this is Vedanta. So that is to begin with. And this is the base of all Hindu scriptures and our life also. Our thinking process is molded in Vedanta. And even the modern society also find its roots in Vedanta. Even the government, the way of governing India is also deep-rooted in Vedanta. So we can see.
How would you see that, Sarva Atma? How do you see the government? Give me an example of that.
For example, India has enemies, mainly Pakistan and China. So with Pakistan, there was 5 wars. With China, there was one, and there was other problems. And according to the Indian diplomats, if you don't have enemies, you will weaken yourself. And if you conquer one enemy, there will be another one behind. So it means that we have to have a different strategy. That means to live together with people that don't agree with you. So this is a continuous need in this world, because we are no more isolated. We are all connected now. Australians, Indians, Americans, Europeans, everybody speak, and everybody is meeting through our internet and all other medias. And we cannot say that we are isolated people. And the Americans pollute, the Indians pollute, the Chinese pollute, and all pollutions are for everybody. So we cannot imagine that one day we will be in a safe place. So we are supposed to live with people who are not agreeing with us. So this is the Vedantic point of view. So we have to see both sides. When there is a conflict, we have to use the Vedantic dialectics way of thinking, that we have to see the oppositions are necessary, and then we can go beyond it. So this is an application of Vedanta. That means enemies are necessary to be strong. So if there is no enemy, you will disappear. And that is what happened for the time of Ashoka's empire. India was so strong. There was no enemy for such a very long time. There was no enemy because India was very powerful. The present Afghanistan, Pakistan, and a large part of South India, and also the eastern parts like till Sumatra, Java, and Bali. So this was a very, very vast area. And sooner or later, we found that this vast empire went into so many different small countries. So they break down into pieces. So it's important to have this relationship between the self and the non-self as two opposite poles make one whole. You want me, you are you, I am I. But when we look at it a Vedantic point of view, we are one. So the duality is highlighted and the non-duality as an ultimate truth.
So when I'm looking at myself over there and you.
Yes. I believe that we have to make it known to all the politicians in the world. So when the Americans are waging war against the Arabs, there were so many war, and which is still going on, and we can see both they saying that they are fighting against the evil. Both of the side, they are telling the same thing, and the war is going on. It is not going to end one day. So Vedanta has an application in every aspects of life.
So going beyond politics now and into the so-called individual awakening to that experience of oneness or non-duality, or to a point where one experiences yourself and myself as one being, although at the same time being asked by birth to live as a separate individual, but ultimately realizing there's only one of us here. Is this how you see Advaita from your point of view?
Yes, so the duality that you see, it's an apparent reality. That means when you are thirsty, you have to drink, and it is not enough that I drink when you are thirsty. So there is two bodies and two minds, two experiences, but deep behind the person, the consciousness is one reality. So when you ask this question, who am I? And when I ask this question, we will have one single answer.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
And so in that, which is the ultimate reality that I make every attempt, even using the word I, of course, the separate self, makes every attempt to live in this, with this awareness now. Yet it's a constant clearing up, isn't it, of all the old patterns that come up to claim that. And this is where I find the kleshas, Patanjali's kleshas, can come in and point us to areas that hold us bound in separation and suffering. Could you talk a little bit about that, please, Sarva Atma?
I believe that the yoga has very, very, very long history. And before yoga, there is Samkhya. And after yoga and Samkhya, and there was so other visions like darshanas of Nyaya Darshana, Vaisheshika Darshana, Mimamsa, and finally yoga. Finally Vedanta. And all these schools are meant to help people in different levels. The whole truth is already given by Samkhya, but uh, it is not possible for everybody to experience it because of their nerve system, their body, their mind. So we have to develop yoga. That is for concentration. Yoga is for concentration. If you are not concentrated, you cannot look inside and see your truth. So we need to pacify your mind through the yoga methods. And once you know how to be silent inside, then you can see your reality. And sometimes people need to go further because the communication is very difficult. The learning of language and logic are necessary. So Nyaya Darshana is introduced for those people who want a clarity through the words. And the value science and that is the Vaisheshika and the study of the matter. And all these are together, the culminating into Vedanta. So we cannot separate one school of thought from the other, all work together. So in the yoga, we want experience. The priority is experience. So we are looking for what are the obstacles. There we can see the kleshas. The kleshas are five kleshas. The fundamental klesha is ignorance. Ignorance is we are ignoring who we are really. So once you ignore your real nature, you cannot live like that. So we have to immediately take a mask to continue to live. So I don't know who am I. So I am lost. So we cannot stay for a long time. So I have to pretend to be someone.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because the word personality or persona comes from the Greek word mask, I believe, as well. And that does mask our true, our true identity.
Yeah.
Yet we perhaps need that mask to operate in this world.
Yeah, so we need mask because we are not learned to live how to live without mask. So it's also possible for us to live without mask.
Yes.
Maybe our surrounding is not ready, like the story of Jesus who says, I am the Son of God. Me and my Father, we are one. And the people around, they took stone to hit him as he is doing something very, very bad, blasphemy.
They didn't understand the true meaning of his words, did they?
Yeah, they were not ready to hear this truth. If he was living in India, there was no problem. If somebody say, I am the self, I am absolute, Aham Brahmasmi, it is a mantra. So we have to say it again and again unless you won't experience it. So it is about the people around you. If the people around you can look at as the cosmic force, then there is no problem. We can live without mask. But the people, they reduce you to a physical body, a psychophysical organism, then it is very difficult to live completely our cosmic identity. So we have to have some kind of mask. Listen, the Hindu masters, all the swamis, they have names. All the names are exactly the same, the different names of the self. Sachidananda or even Sarva Atma, and all names, they are telling the same thing. So
I was actually given, I took initiation of sannyas as well, and my name is Devashakti, Swami Devashakti, divine name. Beautiful
yeah,
name.
yeah, of course. So we can live with a holy mask. You understand? So a transparent mask.
Yeah.
So the mask is interesting so that the people can fix their eyes on it. So if you are the cosmic force and you are everywhere, then people have difficulty to fix their eyes. So looking at somebody and seeing only their body, and it's very reducing. That is why the Hindu women usually they put a red point here so that people can remember that the sacred nature should be pointed out.
Very nice. It's a beautiful, beautiful tradition. I like that very much.
Thank you.
Especially now, it's actually World Women's Day, so a nice thing to share.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So, avidya, that's the unawareness of the true reality or the ignorance. And
we have to understand it very closely because there is Vidya and Avidya. These are two kinds of knowledge. When you look at an object, imagine this is a table, and this is Avidya. This table is made of wood, and I am looking at a dead tree, and I say, this is a table. In fact, when you give names, it gives only very few informations. When you call it as a table, it's about the function, the form, and we are not at all telling what is really this table. So when you push this question to the last end, so this is sacred. This is God himself. This is the divine transformed into some useful object. So the final understanding of everything, it's energy and consciousness, Shiva Shakti. So the knowledge that we have in schools, when you learn science, this is avidya. It will help you to get a job. This will help society to function together. But vidya is the study about the final reality. So avidya means a superficial knowledge. It's not ignorance, as we can say, that we don't know things. So it is also knowledge. It is useful knowledge, but that can help us to construct a world idea on the world and personal world and the idea about myself. I build a knowledge about me, even though it is not the final truth. People will ask you, who are you, where are you coming from, and I will say my name is such and such and I am coming from India, Kerala, etc. So that is enough for a superficial social relationship, but it is not the truth in the final level. So this avidya build our ego, that is asmita, that is a second klesha,
yeah,
second obstacle, because the first obstacle create the second one, and the second one, once it is created, so the very first moment when I say I am lost. I am lost in two forces, raga dvesha. I am attracted to something and I don't want certain things. So raga, dvesha, two forces are pushing me on both sides. So this is a continuous process that the whole humanity is caught under. Not only humanity, all living beings are under the force of this raga dvesha. And this will make us miserable. This is the suffering. I want something, I don't get it, I don't want something, and I am always with that, I don't want, and all these things are making us continuously troubling our life, and we make us miserable.
Yes, and it seems very much, I think now in modern India perhaps as well, in the cities, but here in the West, you know, this attachment, this clinging, this, you know, these constant desires for more, and then this aversion or the pushing away, or the, you know, I want this, I don't want that, and it really does take us away from any sense of a deeper, divine or sublime self that is connected with nature, with love, or with the divine. It's a big problem, I think, in the West.
Yeah, but it's not yet finished, because the biggest problem is coming. That is the fifth one. It's called attachment.
Yeah.
This is the that means one day somebody come and say, you are so miserable, so stop, get out of it. The death is knocking at your door. And what we will say, no, I don't want to die.
Yeah. Yet we all die.
Yeah, so we want to continue in this form of functioning.
I wonder why.
So we say it's a miracle. It's a miracle. It's very surprising, and we have so many stories about this particular nature of humanity. The words. There's first one is avidya and asmita, raga, dvesha, and the fifth one is apinivesha. Apinivesha means refuse all change, to refuse all kind of changes. So people become so traditional. You know, if you want to change something, and they will say no, it is kind of inertia, social inertia. We are suffering, and since long time you are suffering, and now you are accustomed to your suffering, and one day the suffering stops, it's going to be a problem.
Oh, we're crazy, aren't we?
Yeah, this is very, very strange behavior. So in the Mahabharata, if you have time, I will tell you rapidly the story. A man fell into a well, and by chance he could catch a root, and he know that he cannot stay a long time, and he was chased by an elephant, so he cannot come back. And deep down in the well, there is a crocodile opening his mouth and waiting that he will fall down one moment. And at that moment, he sees that there is a honeycomb, and the drops of honey falling. And at that critical moment, the man, he know that it is not going to last, and he take this finger and get to one drop, and he tastes it. So this is humanity. They know that it is all going to end, And still, instead of solving the problem, trying to get these fragments of joy reflected in central objects. So this is a human nature. So through the yoga and all this spiritual path, we can find the true joy of the self.
Yep, and it's free.
And in abundance.
Yes, we can get to a certain point and it all seems so simple, but when I reflect back to the things that this body mind used to be concerned about, they all seem so insignificant and petty now. But at the time, of course, they were very serious because, you know, that was the reality then. So, Sarva Atma, it would be lovely to hear a little bit more about what you're doing at your place there. I really enjoyed visiting there. I know that you've been planting and using permaculture, planting lots of spice trees and native food plants there and educating the local people. Is that right?
Yeah. So I believe that our spiritual path should contribute to the society. And it is true that through meditation, you can get into great levels of joy. And when you are not able to share this, it's very sad.
I agree.
There is no difference between somebody who is finding his joy through some chemical substances and meditating. It's almost the same thing. The person is lost for the society. So you have to be able to share your love. And if you know that the world is one, and your energy should be spent on taking care of your surrounding.
I would agree with that. And it's a wonderful thing that you're doing there. It's a bit like me doing this podcast. You know, I could just sit and enjoy my beautiful forest garden here, but I love to share the love, which is what you're doing here.
Yeah. So what we are doing mainly is helping human beings, because if they are in misery, they will destroy the nature.
Yes.
The people, they are killing elephants, this big animal, just for the tusk. You understand? So killing big animals, cutting trees just for the wood, they never be able to enjoy the flowers because they are hungry. They want to eat. So first priority is doing something for the poverty. So this is our preoccupation. So creating job. We create job through developing different type of services. We produce Ayurvedic medicine. We give Ayurvedic treatment. We produce soap and incense sticks and so many things we produce, and we sell it. And through that we develop job. And this is the only way for the people to have a decent life. That is the fundamental thing. But we have to do this without harming the nature. And we are looking for an autonomous society. We are looking for people can share things. You know, somebody produce soap, and all the other community, they buy, so that this one family producing soap can live. And we want to come out of the monetary system through barter. barter system. So we share things. Somebody produce bananas, and this banana can barter with eggs, so that we can come out of the monetary system. This is what is very efficient, so that there is no parasitage, there is no parasite. So there is no money, no energy is coming out of the system. So that is one main thing.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the original barter system, unfortunately, was replaced with money, which is
And also,
pieces of paper that's a bank controls. It's quite crazy, really.
Yeah, so we have our local money now. Our money, we call it grace. With that, we are able to buy and sell very easily without inflation. There is no inflation in our system.
No inflation in grace. Very good.
Yeah, and the second one is about the idea of God. The God is a tool of exploitation, so we have to come out of also the idea of God. Every religions are concurrential. See, they want to say that every religion say their God is big, their God is great, their God is this is the only way, otherwise you are lost, and all this kind of commercial way of exploiting people and
Another
selling.
form of separation, separating society by
Yeah.
religion. It's very sad.
Yeah, and also selling illusions. They sell paradise. Yeah, with such a big price. Such a big price. You have to give your life to get something just only fiction, and there is no surety about it.
And also, they often sell it through fear, which is very sad.
Yeah. Also, this is very stupid, and humanity have to grow to come out of this. Religions are only monuments of past. We can visit, of course, but we cannot live inside. So modern man have to come out of these prisons. We cannot live as they imagined 5,000 years back. And God is not telling about plutonium, no plastic, nothing. God is not so modern. If God was today with us, he will say, stop producing bombs, stop wars, stop plastic, stop factories that make this earth dirty. He will say, come and collect all the plastics in the oceans. It's we have to come out of these old ways of thinking, and we can see that God is talking, you don't kill and all this, and few pages after he will say kill everybody. There's contradictions. So we have to come out of this stage of development. Now we have to take our own responsibilities, otherwise we are going to destroy the earth.
Absolutely. And we're doing the same here at Mangalam, which is our property. Everything here is completely organic. We have reforested this piece of land, just as you're doing in India. We have a no plastic policy. We have our own rainwater. We have our own solar. And we're very lucky, of course, to be able to do that, as are you. But we can make a commitment, and I believe you've made that commitment there for your community. How many people in the village are part of what you're doing there?
We started with 30 people. Now we grow to 500 people. And I believe this 500 is a number, it's a crucial number. It's a maximum limit of a community. And if you are more than 500, the connections between, the quality of connection between people will reduce, and every person will become anonymous. So what we do like in the honeycomb, when there is too many individuals, that we have to divide into two. So that is what we are doing. We divide and make a separate system. So so that the
you send out a queen bee.
yes, exactly. We nourish differently one or two people, so that they can create other systems. And I hope each people who come here get inspired from our center, and they go back to their own village and start their own Maithri Mandir. Maithri Mandir means a temple of friendship. We don't want God. If there is a God, it's friendship. It's friendship is interesting because it's based on equality. God and humanity, or the creator and the creation, it's a vertical relationship.
It's hierarchical, I agree. I almost think a good God would be loving kindness too.
It's not interesting. If there is a God, I would like to have a chat with him.
Yes, of course. Why not?
I don't want a God who give me commanding. I don't want a commander. So we can discuss.
And this is something I love about non-duality, because, you know, we're really recognizing that God spark, which is the one thing that's going on here within everything, whether it be the table, as you referred to earlier, or in each other now, you know, where we have a persona, we have a mask so that we can operate in this world of duality, but we're connecting on a different level here through time and space between Australia and India. And that spark of conscious awareness that we are beyond the body mind is what's connecting here. And this is a really beautiful thing if we can develop this and inspire people to connect in that way. Yeah.
I'm not yet finished about all that we are doing. The third one is about how to heal yourself. So the modern medicine is wonderful. We cannot deny it, but for preserving our health and for preventing, it's good Ayurveda. So we are developing Ayurveda for us and for the people who come and meet us here.
That's wonderful. So people that come and stay, they can have Ayurveda treatments while they're there, staying in your community. Yes.
Yes. It's our community is a community of families, so we can offer a family-based treatment. So we are people who come. They are not in an impersonal hospital environment. They are treated like a member of the family,
and it feels like that there. You know, it has a beautiful feel. Maithri Mandir, it's a beautiful place, and as you walk in, of course, you've created that beautiful energy there. So you feel that as you walk in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So the last one, which we are very much interested, is the coming out of the imaginary frontiers between people. That means the national frontiers, the identity based on nation, the idea of a country. You see, we have a border force, but the birds, they can fly from one place to other. They don't have visas.
Lucky birds.
Yeah. So we need to evolve from the archaic way of thinking that there is a lot of countries and the national pride and national identity, and this feeling of we are the people chosen, and we are the best. We are, this kind of national identity that create war. We are one family. So we have to work for this one world.
Again,
World is
that's
one.
coming out of a Vidya, coming out of ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. It is coming from the Vedas. The world is one family. And this feeling that we have to develop in the heart of everybody, so that there is less exploitation of human being by the human being, and human being became its own predator.
Yes, I think more and more of us who are living this way and inspiring others to live this way. It's the only way that we can create global change.
So these are our action, and it is not possible to stop through a lifetime. So that should be continued through generations after generations. So now we are looking for a school, creating a school. So we are on this project now since 2 years now. So we want to educate children not in classrooms but in nature, open schools, and not keeping of the same age group. We have to mix all ages together, not isolating from the real life context, and teaching them how to live a life which can heal the earth. Our presence.
Have you started a school there, or are you just in the development of that now?
Yeah, I mean, we are on the way to develop it, and we are building this place. And next year it is going to start to function.
So, Sarva Atma, I wanted to ask you, how did you learn French? How did that come about that someone from Kerala in India learned French and ended up teaching in France? Please share with me.
So all of my friends, they speak English fluently, and I want to become different from everybody. So this is always my guideline of my life is like that. I want to do something different, and I am still like this. And so I decided, why should I learn something else? So the option was French, and I was not knowing what is going to happen. And I took my first lesson in French. I didn't know that my life is going to be completely determined by this French language. Now, last 30 years, I continuously teaching in French and traveling in French-speaking world, like in Belgium, in France, and in Switzerland. And so I spent much of my time in French-speaking world. So that gave me a different population also. So now maybe through this podcast, maybe I will be opening myself to English-speaking world.
Well, that'll be interesting, because I noticed that you've got quite a few recordings on your site, and I thought, oh, I'll just have a listen to some of those, but they're all in French. So, of course, I don't understand any French at all. So, yes, it's wonderful that apart from the satsangs and our, meetings when I've come over, I haven't heard you say anything else in English. So now you'll be sharing with the world in English too, which is wonderful.
Yeah, the English-speaking world is very, very big, So that's so new opening for me. Thank you. Thank you, Vidya.
You're welcome. Well, thank you, Sarva Atma. Thank you very much for sharing with us today. And I'll be writing up a blog to go with this podcast. So you'll be able to read more about what Sarva Atma's doing in Kerala at Maithri Mandir.
Maithri Mandir.
Maithri Mandir. I'm getting tongue twisted there. Which is a beautiful place of sharing and friendship. And I'll also share the website below this podcast as well, so that you can visit Sarva Atma's website and see the Ayurveda, the community, the homestay community there, and all the work that's going on. And I thank you very much, Sarva Atma. It's been very enlightening having a chat with you today, and I'm sure everyone will get a lot out of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Join me for upcoming podcasts. And please, if you found this helpful or you'd like to share a comment or perhaps your own experience, I'd love for you to leave that message down below this podcast. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I'm sure we can all help each other to hold hands, to remain awake, present, clear, and loving. Namaste.